Welcome to In the Studio, episode 3. Oh man, fuck Mondays. Man, I had sometimes dealing with some people can steal you of your energy, can just rob you of your energy. And I just, oh man, I just feel really crappy and downcast. So I'm hoping I can kind of work it out a little bit. I'm just going to talk about some of the new books I've been working on. So in the last episode, I mentioned Cormac McCarthy's book, Blood Meridian, and how the villain in that book is just fascinating. And I've been promising a whole episode on that. I'm going to do that. But evil has always fascinated me. And I love reading different philosophical takes on it. I love hearing about people's experiences with it. And there's the simple viewpoint of evil is you have an evil fucking motherfucker who does evil shit. That's really not what it is. It's a complex system that may have a focal point in a person or a group, but it's a thing that arises in a social system. It's something that's built into the DNA, to the human biological machine. So this character reminds me of the primary antagonist in my book that I'm writing. So I guess I can talk about the title of the book. I don't think anybody's going to steal the title. But the title it's called I Speak for the Devil. And it's going to be 3 actually separate books, and it's dividing the life of primary narrator. So this will be the first person book that I've done. And the main character in it is a villain who takes on different forms. So it starts off as a person that the protagonist meets as a young man. And in the later books he acts through different people. And he can even he's part of other people. And I think that's sort of the way evil is. And it's stronger with others, I'll tell you that much. But it's hard to pinpoint where evil is, but you know how you feel when you encounter it. It's like your batteries are just zapped. You're completely confused by everything. Nothing makes sense when it comes to the person. And that is it's like a camouflage. It's to confound you. And I don't know, for some of them, I know they can't be purposeful. Like I said before, they're just too good at it. But everything is to subvert your judgment, to constantly have you questioning your judgment about them and about situations. So it's about feeding you misinformation, lies with the truth. And that makes it so much more destructive to your psychological state, to your ability to assess a situation, to your behavior. And they don't bring out your best. And the most heroic thing, the only thing you can really do is get far away and don't have any further contact. And that's what everybody will really tell you in therapy circles, and you'll hear on the internet about psychopaths and evil. It's not you can't fight it as a person. It's just, that's not what it is. That's not what you can do. At least it seems like to me. I mean, more power to a person you can. But usually just ends up just either consuming you or just turning you into sort of a walking corpse until you can get away from it. And I've suspected the last few years that I've been brushing up against it. And I kind of know by the way I feel. And I know I need to get away from the situation, but I can't. And I know that's I wouldn't tell anybody else that, no, you can, you should. But I'm not going to. And I just have to just get past it, just fight through it. So, I don't know. I'm open to any advice anyone has. Probably a lot of you are lots smarter and wiser than me. I know a couple things about a few subjects, but I don't know. I've learned enough to know that my knowledge is just full of fucking holes. You know, I hear people very, very confident speaking on the internet and really everywhere. I'm like, wow. Imagine feeling that confident about the fucking bullshit that's coming out of your mouth. It's amazing. But, you know, there are people I could just go into that I can't stand on the internet. All right, number one is fucking Dennis Prager. I hate that bastard. Okay? I fucking hate him. And I guarantee you that he is destroying or hurting everyone around him. I feel pretty comfortable making that accusation. And I see, you know, I've never met the man. I'm not a celebrity. I won't ever really cross paths with him. But I have a feeling. And I don't need to, I'll try not to make fun of the way he looks. But that is a man who speaks very confidently. And what he says is extremely damaging. Like one of the major things that I think is just fucking despicable about him is that he says that you basically owe your existence to your parents and to really everyone that came before you. That your elders are these just fucking gods that we just owe everything to. Some of them are to be respected. Most not. Like most people. Sorry. Some people deserve respect, others don't. And that's why respect should be kept special. You know, and not to say be mean to people, but you shouldn't just give your respect away. It doesn't mean anything if you do that. And, Jesus. So, I guess my point in all this is that it's tough going. And, you know, for anybody that's going through a similar situation, I really feel for you. All I can say is be strong and just keep your eye on the ball, meaning I don't like sports analogies, but that is a good one because there's all kinds of stuff happening around you. But there's just one thing that you need to focus on. And that, in a way, is it's reassuring. And it gives you like kind of a focus. You're like, you need to maintain your strength. You need to push forward. So I'm keeping that in mind, and I don't know, I forget from time to time. So in the studio is starting out to be more like on the therapy couch or something. But whatever, we take it, we do what we do. In the studio, we got to do it all. You know, the creative process is a big part of it. It's just digging. If you really want to do it properly, you got to dig into yourself. And it's not going to feel good all the time. Believe me, there's things about creativity that feel awesome. Like that's something that comes to you, and you feel that electricity as you're writing it down and drawing it out. But it is difficult. There's another edge to that sword, and it is sometimes difficult. And you know, so it's difficult to get through life. It's difficult to make it in society when that's just not the kind of person that the world wants in most instances. Not to say that you aren't incredibly valuable, but just more difficult to find your path. And the world is very unforgiving to creativity until it starts paying. And it's not that people will recognize quality. They won't. There are other creative people that will recognize the quality, but it's not something you can expect from everybody. They'll recognize success, but success to them is only what has been assessed by other people. So you got to always if you're creative, you have to use your own judgment. You have to keep your own vision. And I also kind of believe this rule. I've seen it written down that you shouldn't talk a whole lot about what you're doing before it's done. And I kind of, I'll talk a little bit about the books I'm working on, but I'm a little hesitant to go into too many details just because, A, I might change it. And B, it's just sort of, I don't know, it's It's like, oh, it kind of sets you up to, I don't know. I'm not expressing myself well on that point. That's why Chomps is stepping in over here. So that's all I have to say for today, just because I'm just going to get boring. So I don't see why a podcast needs to be much longer than 10 minutes, because I think in the future they're going to be like hours and hours once I get my stupid mouth rambling. So I love you all. Have a pleasant evening.